Hey, this is Matt once again. We're about to end the videos. Another paid request. This time for Brian. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any other type of topics or rankings, reviews, video game playthroughs, re-reviews, commentaries, what have you, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And Brian wanted me to rank the different iterations of the Shredder in the various Ninja Turtle incarnations and universes. So, it took me a bit to think about it. Number one for me would be, granted this is very nostalgic, but the 1990 and 1991 versions of the Shredder. I put them both. I put them both in there. I would say if I had to pick, I would say 1990 as number one. But I just decided to throw them both in there together. Yes, it's most nostalgic. Granted, I grew up with the 80s cartoon as well, but the first two movies I grew up with a lot, and I rewatched even more so. With the voice they gave the Shredder, the look they gave him, he seems sinister, he seems scary for a PG movie. He seemed like he meant business. When he went up and just smacked Splinter in the face, threatening him. When he's saying lines like, "Silence her." You did that commanding tone to him. Just a nice, serious embodiment of the Shredder. Now, the 1990 I would put above it because it felt like he was in the film more. He felt more dangerous. He actually has a fight with the Turtles and defeats each one of them. I like the Shredder in the 1991 film. My only issue is that he should have had a fight with the Turtles and not just the Super Shredder. Or even as a Super Shredder, have the Turtles fight him and use teamwork to beat him. Have the Shredders actually defeat the Shredder. I think that was something they as much as I love that film, they did drop the ball with that. But that, again, very nostalgic. That would have to be my number one favorite version. Number two, I put the 2003 cartoon. Yes, I know people got pissed off because they found out that during the course of the show, the Shredder was, how do I put it? He was an Utrom, which is a creature that looks like Crane from the 80s cartoon. But in the comics were this race of aliens that were inside this android suit looking like Oroku Saki. And he based his character on a real Shredder from long, long ago. But he took this facade to give fear to his enemies. That iteration, that change did not bother me as much as it did others. That was still the same Shredder that killed his, Splinter's master. Because he's been around for a while, and so you still have that history, that past with the characters. And he just felt the most dangerous. Like, of the Shredders, that's the Shredder that just felt the most dangerous. Felt the most intense. The way he looked, the way he would fight, the way he just felt more brutal. The way how when Bastard Stoppin would fail, Shredder would go after him. And the next time we see Bastard Stoppin in another episode, he'd be missing an eye, or he'd be scarred up, or he'd have no legs. So your mind kind of figures out what happened in between. And like I said, Shredder just felt like much more of a dangerous character in that show. And intimidating. And I still say the most intimidating Shredder was in that show. So that's why the 2003 cartoon version definitely goes high on the list. Number 3, I put James Avery, the Shredder from the 80s cartoon. Granted, he's very bumbling, he's very silly, which works in that universe with that show. But James Avery is a lot of fun. That's why I put him number 3, because of his voice performance. Come on, it's Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He's very entertaining in the role. He does get some funny lines out there. Just his great voice performance is what made that character work. Like I said, because he's very bumbling, he's very silly, he's never scary, he's never intimidating. You never feel like the Turtles would lose against this guy. He's a bit of a joke. But James Avery nailed the pitch, the tone of the voice of that character in the portrayal he was given to showcase with this Shredder. With what he was told to do. He did it fairly well. Number 4, Image, where Raphael was the Shredder for a bit. And that's really the reason I put number 4, is because Raphael, pretty much Image, a lot of weird things were going on with that comic line. Leonardo got his hand bit off by a Gator. Donnie fell from a height that his shell was completely smashed up, but he got with this robot thing, so he was like part cyborg. Mikey had a girlfriend. Raph lost one of his eyes. Again, very weird comic line. And there's a bit where Raphael was leading the Foot Clan to do good, to try to do good. And he wore the outfit. And I thought, okay, that was kind of a cool thing to see. But then another version of the Foot Clan tried to overtake him, including this female, not Karai, but Pimiko, I think was her name. Tried to overthrow him, and the other turtles help him out. And ultimately decides, this ain't for me. So it was a very short stint. But just, different to see. So I know that's kind of a cheat, because he wasn't really the Shredder, but he had the Shredder outfit on. Has some cool images. Gives me a point to use it for the thumbnail. And wish they could have done more with that. Or that kind of thing utilized in a different universe, different story. Number 5, I put the 2012 one. Granted, that show lost me after the first or second season. But to be fair, I give credit to that Shredder because he was a dangerous figure who actually did kill Splinter during that show. So, gotta give credit to that. I mean, a Shredder that actually does kill Splinter in a kids cartoon. And that's one thing to give credit to the 2012 cartoon, is that there are rare moments that they do show a bit of seriousness. Almost to the point that it felt very tonally different, almost out of place, when the rest of the show was rather silly. Like, for the most part, the show was sillier than the 2003 cartoon. That's why I think the 2003 cartoon had a bit more better balance, because it was an action-driven show where there's humor, there's a lot of serious moments, though. Here, you had episodes with squirrel-noids, like squirrels that were trying to grab them and attack them. I think there was something about a killer pizza in one episode. So that's the thing, that just sometimes the tone would be a bit shifty in that show, but again, a Shredder being able to do that, you gotta give him some props for that. You did get to feel that he was a dangerous character. So I have to put him not too low on the list as a form of respect for that. Number 6, the comic version is very iconic. I mean, he's in the very first issue. He's just not hired because it's a fucking short stint. Because he dies in the first issue because they didn't know there'd be this ongoing thing. And the Mirage comics, there wasn't really a main villain in the background. It was kind of whatever needed to happen. They go into space. Here's the Foot Clan City of War storyline, where different groups are fighting over each other. So there wasn't really a main villain that was carrying throughout the whole comic, line of the original Mirage comics, which was interesting. But again, that's why Shredder from the comic is lower on the list, because he's only in one issue and he got his ass kicked pretty easily. They kicked his ass pretty easily. So, but it's iconic. It's the first look at it. It's the first showcase of it. So I gotta put him in there somewhere. Number 7, I put the Cyber Shredder. Granted, that was in the Back to the Sewers, kind of the last season of the 2003 Ninja Turtles cartoon. It's not the most memorable season. I'll give you that. He still tried to have the intensity of the Shredder of old. It was a cyber. I'm not going to get into the story of it. Like I said, I liked it because I liked the 2003 cartoon. I liked the voice actors. I grew up to enjoy those characters, those iterations of those characters quite a bit. So even the lesser moments, I'm still, like, flash forward about the series. I still get enjoyment out of it. But the first 4 seasons are definitely the best of that show. The only one I really didn't like was the Ninja Tribunal season. That one I wasn't big on. Like, the whole storyline. I was more into the stuff in the future I actually liked. I just didn't like that the animation was not nearly as good. That's really my issue of Flash Forward. Actually, like I said, I like that season, but the animation is not up to par. Also, I would say it wasn't as serious as the first 4 seasons. So I guess that maybe that's the 2 issues I have, but I still do like that. Back to the Sewers, I thought was a step down, but I just still enjoy it. I could still watch it. And Cyber Shredder, I mean, not the best, but not the worst. Number 8, I put the anime one because I barely remember that fucking anime. There was, 2 of them? I think there's like 2 episodes. And I'm like, okay, that existed. And I don't remember a fucking thing about it. And it's not the worst because these 2 are the worst. Rise of the TMNT, honestly, I only watched like a couple episodes and I just gave up. So I never saw the stuff where Shredder was involved. So that's why that's not on the list. Because I don't know anything about it. The 2014 and 2016 Shredders are the worst Shredders I've seen. The 2014 one is barely in it. Except, well, that's not true. You don't see his face, but he does fight Splinter, defeats him, fights Raphael, beats the shit out of him, which was embarrassing. But it does show that Shredder is tough. He looks like fucking Megatron from Transformers. So I'm not really a fan of the 18 Denzu knives that he throws. For fuck's sake. Because I know Michael Bay didn't direct it, but he still produced it. It's like he still got to put Transformers feel into it, let alone Megan Fox. And it's like, yeah, let him have a little like fucking Megatron and all this other shit. So I just not a fan of that. It just didn't care for the design. Just looked ridiculous to me. But I just hate that movie. And the 2016 was even worse because they have Shredder, but then most of the time he's just standing around without a helmet on, being Train's bitch. I don't think he has one fight scene in the movie. Yeah, the Shredder in the 2016 Out of the Shadows, the sequel to the 2014 film, also produced by Michael Bay. Yeah, he has no helmet on for most of it. He's just kind of staying around. He gets in no fight scenes. And it ends with, after not doing shit, Crane bitch smacks him into getting frozen. I was ready for him to go, I was frozen today. So the Shredder does nothing. He's a total bitch. Crane, voiced by, was it the guy from Everybody Loves Raymond? Not Ray Romano, but the other guy. I forget his name. He voiced Crane. Brad. God, I forgot his name. Like that bitch smacks you, that getting frozen and turned to a popsicle and being in Crane's collection? What the fuck? Okay. Wow, how to make Shredder a total bitch. Fucking hell. But most people are bitches in that movie. The Turtles are bitches. They can't fight Bebop and Rocksteady. But Casey Jones, who's a police officer, played by the guy from the TV show Arrow, Green Arrow, he could defeat Rocksteady and Bebop by himself. The four Turtles can't do it, but this guy could do it by himself. Oh, aren't you glad you got your Bebop Rocksteady? We don't need him in a live action film. Why can't we have it? Well, you got it. How you like the taste in your mouth? Does it taste like the dicks Bebop Rocksteady showed each other? When they get transformed, they go, look at our dicks. And there were people that said that was a great movie. Teach their own. I thought it was a piece of shit. It deserves to be at the bottom of the list. So fuck that shit. With that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye for now.